Today we're looking at the question of the story behind Silent Night. But before we begin, don't forget to like the page, subscribe, or leave a comment. It really helps the channel out. Silent Night is one of the most recognized carols in the Christmas season. In fact, the Bing Crosby version of Silent Night is the third best-selling single of all time. UNESCO actually in 2011 declared that Silent Night is an intangible cultural heritage for the world. So what is the story behind it? Well, the story comes from two men, Josef Mohr and Franz Gruber. Mohr is the librettist, or the man who wrote the lyrics for the song, actually several years before it became a carol for Christmas service. Mohr was a rather unfortunate figure. He was the third illegitimate child to his mother. His father was a mercenary soldier who had abandoned the family when he was quite young. Probably due to the poverty of the family, Josef was actually adopted as a foster child by the local Catholic chapter. The church was actually there in Salzburg, and the area was already known for its music. And the church, in fact, very much inspired Josef to become a musician, to put his energies and his talents on display for the church. And eventually, Josef became himself a priest. He was ordained the 21st of August in 1815, and he became a priest just north of the city of Salzburg in the city of Oberndorf. There he actually met a fellow musician, a man like himself from meager backgrounds named Franz Gruber. Gruber actually became the organist for the church where Mohr was now a priest. The story of Silent Night, or Stille Nacht, as it was in the original German, actually came as a result of the need for a Christmas carol for the Christmas Eve Mass in 1818. The story goes that Josef needed a carol for that night's service, for that night's Mass, and so he trekked his way several miles to Franz Gruber's house, and he brought with him a poem that he had written several years before, and the lyrics for the poem are, of course, Silent Night. Franz quickly arranged it into a somewhat upbeat tempo, much more upbeat than the contemplative version that you and I know today. There were originally 6 verses to it as well. It was arranged originally, though, for a guitar and a choir, due in large part to the fact that the organ in the chapel was actually not working at the time. And so, on Christmas Eve, 1818, Franz Gruber strapped on a guitar and played the first edition of Silent Night. The song was actually quite a hit. It became regularly played on traveling tours, and it eventually itself was played before King Frederick William IV of Prussia. It made its way over into English just several years after through a translation in Britain, and then it came to America by way of a book called the Sunday School Hymnal. By then, of course, it was only 3 verses of the original 6, and the tempo had been slowed down. But by the midpoint of the 1800s, Silent Night became one of the most established and well-known Christmas carols in all of the West. Since then, Silent Night has been translated actually into at least 140 languages, if not more, making it one of the most translated and universal songs that is sung in this season than any other song that we know.